the original Season 3, Episode 17, Behind the Black Horizon. This was definitely a surprising episode with the ending. We got to see, actually a successful plan from the villain of this episode. Lucien completely succeeded in exactly what he wanted to do. We finally got the answer to the weird Kingmaker thing where it was like, why is he killing off all these werewolves? It seemed, sorry I have hiccups, but it seems so odd and pointless, like he's just, for some reason, killing a bunch of werewolves. So, we actually get the answer in this episode, and it kind of comes twofold, because we get to see him in this episode when after he becomes an original, he bites Finn, which ultimately leads to his death, which was very surprising. I thought they brought him back, he's gonna be back in the show, he's one of the originals. And he gets taken down. Like, they did a lot of crap to him in the past 2 episodes. He got branded within the body. He was trapped in his own body. So Davina kind of got her revenge on him a little bit. And then he gets bit. And then we find out that it's actually a super lethal bite. Because even Klaus's bite, it hurts them. It hurts the originals because they are technically just vampires. So they still get affected by werewolf bites and stuff. And we knew that already. And it was really weird because it's like, he shouldn't, even as a hybrid, I'm pretty sure we've seen Klaus do that to Elijah before, and it messes him up for a while, but it never kills him, he heals from it. So, it's like, how is this affecting him so badly? And even after he's healed, he ends up throwing up, or I guess spitting up the blood, and we find out the reason that he's so affected is because the whole idea behind Kingmaker is to take every different pack of werewolves and create one, like, omega venom that no vampire can survive, including an original, which puts, it puts Lucien at an insanely high level as far as a villain. And then we find out at the very end of this episode, of course, because Klaus has this bit of revenge, and as soon as he brought up, like, maybe it's for 2, I was like, man, Cammy's going to be super pissed at him for not having, finally killed Aurora, because that was her whole thing. Like, at some point she'll escape. It doesn't matter if it's 100 years or 200 years or 500 years. She's going to escape and be stronger than me and come after me, and I don't need that. And she's totally right. Much sooner than she was expecting, I'm sure. So, I'm sure she's going to be a bit upset about that. And then we have a great little side story with the witches starting up, which I don't know where they're going to take that. I don't know how they can defeat ancestors, which seems like the craziest thing they could possibly do, but Vincent and Davina are going to be teaming up to try to take out the ancestors, because we find out the reason Cole is kind of losing it is actually because the ancestors sort of corrupted the spell that Davina used to bring him back to life. So since they couldn't take her down, they're doing it to him and trying to make him lose control. Even in the simplest of situations, he's just fighting everybody. So I love that idea, and like I said, I don't know how that's even going to work, where they take out the ancestors. That seems to make no sense to me, but I can't wait to see how they try to pull that one off. And Vincent, I guess it doesn't matter with him being the regent or anything like that, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what the heck they do with that. I don't know how you take out ancestors when, excuse me, the whole point, basically, of magic is that they draw it from the older lineage. So, I don't know how they're going to deal with that, how they're going to defeat dead people, but I'm excited to see it for sure. I'm looking forward to that little team up and how they plan on taking out the ancestors and doing what they want to do, and doing things without being forced to maybe like work with Lucien and stuff like that, despite maybe some of the innocent people like Freya in this episode. That was one of the things where Freya was kind of just innocent, but she was thrown into it because she was a part of the plan, and Vincent couldn't exactly do anything to help her, even though they're actually pretty good friends. So a lot of stuff going on with this episode that I certainly enjoyed. Like I said, very surprised that they killed off Finn. I did not expect that at all. So he's died for the 3rd time, I believe. He was killed the first time, which I love the fact that they did the little crossover where Matt showed up, because it was really funny when Finn and Elijah were walking down the stairs. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he died right here. Like, isn't this the exact place where he died? And then Matt shows up, and he says that, he's like, I'm pretty sure, like, I killed you before. It was like right here, wasn't it? So I was like, that's cool, because as soon as they did that, because They also killed somebody else right there, like just recently. I think it was in the Vampire Diaries. When Damon was being all crazy, he killed somebody on the stairs, and then somebody else died there. I think it was Damon's friend when they first killed someone and like wiped out the whole line, which I guess was there. So I guess that was still when Finn died and his friend died somewhere else. But it was just interesting. I don't know how just those couple of stairs were so recognizable, but I'm pretty sure it instantly took me back to Finn dying right there. Like, I think this is exactly where he died at. So I was really glad they put that little bit of dialogue in there. Matt showed up. He didn't get really beat up like he normally does in the Vampire Diaries, so I was okay with that. And it was just surprising. Like, the stuff they did was surprising. I mean, they went through... we found out this stuff with Kingmaker and this crazy mega venom that Lucien now has, which apparently is permanent. Like, he has this, and that's all there is to it. And at first it was like, okay, so he has a bit of a weakness, because maybe it will run out, and he'd have to kind of get another witch to do the spell, or just take Vincent. And then it's like, no, maybe that's not the case, and it's because it's for Aurora. So, at least at this point, this crazy, ultra version of the venom is permanent. And I don't know how they're going to do it for Aurora, because he took it, and I would assume that if a vampire, technically venom, I don't know if they're going to follow these rules, but technically you can drink venom. So I don't know if they're going to play it that way, which would be weird. But I guess the spell was, just in the vial itself. That's what turned him into an original anyway. And I don't know why he couldn't have just killed himself, but I don't know. I guess it was just easier. It was just a part of the plan was simpler. But I don't know. I mean, she has the vial. I guess all he has to do is kill her, and then she'll be an original as well. So we have 2 new originals, both of which have like this hyper venom that can kill any vampire, including originals, and Klaus can't heal it even as a hybrid. So I'm excited to see how in the world they end up surviving this. They can't. Obviously, that no one can be bit. So I don't know if they're going to play around with the idea that someone might get bit, and then maybe we do see a cure, maybe like right at the end of the season or something crazy. I don't know, but maybe if Vincent and Davina can actually somehow get rid of the ancestors, they can reverse the spell, because it's a spell. Typically, it can be reversed. It's pretty much just how spells work. There's a spell, it can be countered by a spell or just flat out canceled out. There's something to it, but they would need the ancestors, kind of off their back, and they would probably have to work together because it's such a powerful spell. Like, he had all the objects he needed, so if they found a new spell to undo it, I'm sure they'd have to team up in order to do it, because it was a bit of a simple spell. It's like, you just need some blood, need the bullet, do this, and then boom. But they don't have any of that stuff anymore, so to reverse it, they'd have to do something insanely powerful, I'm assuming. But definitely looking forward to it. I think this was a fun episode. I can't wait to see what they do. I don't know if we're going to... I'm assuming we'll see Aurora. That she wasn't in the promo or anything. But it seems like it's a bit of a cat and mouse game now with Lucien, where he's kind of taunting Klaus. And he does hit him at one point. He like knocks him up into the sky and everything. So I'm sure they'll actually be fighting. But he can obviously take him down. He can bite... I would assume he could bite Klaus, even though Klaus is a hybrid. I don't know if it... I guess they haven't really explored that. He can't heal vampires when they're affected by this super venom, but I guess he wouldn't be affected because he is half vampire, so the bite thing doesn't really count for him. So I guess he's technically the only one that could still be left alive, but I guess they, their hearts can still get ripped out as well, so that's kind of the only thing at this point. And now Lucien is basically as powerful as they are. It seemed like he was even more powerful, because he fought Elijah and Finn, and he was just like moving their hands like it was nothing and just knocking them to the ground. It was like, it wasn't kind of back and forth. It seemed like they were just normal fighting, and he was just like, nope, and he punched them and then block something, flip them, or throw them to the ground or something. So I'm not 100% sure physically he's even more powerful than them, but I do believe they mentioned that as well. Like, he's at least somewhat more powerful than them. But great villain. I mean, we only have, I would assume, not too many episodes left in the season, but last season we technically got the main villain like 3 episodes before the finale, so they can do whatever they want. They made that work somehow, so this is fine. Like, and he's been in it for the whole season, so I don't know how they're going to play it out, but I'm definitely excited for it. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is however Davina and Vincent are going to face the ancestors, because just as a concept, that seems really interesting to me. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. But of course, we have two new originals who are both more powerful than the current originals, with mostly with their bites. So definitely looking forward to that. Of course, want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. Of course, because we did lose a character, I do have to ask you guys what you thought about us losing Finn, especially after him coming back. I figured, you know, of course they've killed him off several times, but they brought like the original actor back and everything. I just assumed he was going to be in it. For a while, I just thought, oh, here's Finn. They brought him back to life, but they killed him off again, so it was still just a little guest starring bit. But I definitely want to know what you guys thought about them kind of bringing him in and taking him out so quickly. I personally never really liked him because of his character. Like he creates definitely an amazing dynamic for the characters, but he was always the one just like, we need to all die because we're all monsters. So just like Elijah and Klaus and everybody else was like, I don't like him. He's always trying to get rid of them, and he worked with their mother, who I didn't like from the beginning. So it was like their mom and their dad, and then Finn was like right there next to him. Like, I don't like any of them because all they're doing is trying to kill off these characters. And, you know, he was their brother. It kind of made it a little bit worse, I guess. At least objectively it seemed like it, because their mother was instantly like regretting her decision. So I don't know. And their father, obviously it was automatic for him. So it's just weird levels for them. So I was surprised, but I wasn't exactly hurt. Like, oh, it's not like it was Rebecca that died or anything like that. So I was like, that's surprising, but I can't say I'm like hurt by it, because he always kind of got on my nerves. But they did have a very good dramatic moment. Even with like Crazy Cole, he even shed an actual tear, and all they did was fight because he killed him in his last life. So all they were doing was fighting until it kind of came down to that final moment, and it still mattered. It was, for them, it was still just family. So definitely a great ending. But want to know what you guys thought about his death, and I definitely gotta ask what you guys think is gonna happen with these two new villain original characters with Lucien and Aurora. And I want to ask like a lot of questions this time, but a lot of cool stuff to lead into. Definitely have to ask how you guys think Davina and Vincent are somehow going to defeat people that have been dead for hundreds of years, because I just can't think of how that could play out. But I think Cammy may or may not have an object that could probably help them out. But I want to know your expectations, predictions as well, and of course, like I said, what you thought about losing Finn in this episode after he just got brought back, and of course what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.